this one, $1.90. That's the cost per drink of excessive drinking in this country. It adds up to about $223.5 billion burden to the U.S. government and individuals, about $746 per person. Just about three-quarters of those costs of excessive drinking were due to lost workplace productivity, 11% of it from healthcare expenses, 9% from law enforcement and other criminal justice costs, and 6% from motor vehicular crash costs from impaired driving. Now, excessive drinking was defined as binge or heavy drinking and any drinking by pregnant or underage youth. Look, alcoholism isn't an easy problem to deal with, either by yourself or even alongside someone you love. But this brings me to another story I want to tell you about. A home for alcoholics that lets them drink and is funded by you, by me, the taxpayers. No matter what you think, it's an interesting concept for sure. And these types of places, well, they're starting to pop up more and more frequently around the country. Our own Chris Welsh spent the better part of a month working on the story at one of these so-called wet houses. He joins me now from Minneapolis to talk about it. Chris, thanks again for being back on the show. Let me just ask you to start, how did you get interested in this?
Well, this was a story that sort of popped up on a local newspaper a while back, and, you know, we thought, me and a couple producers and some of my managers saw it and thought this could really make an interesting story to really dig deeper into. So we thought, why not devote some time and really, you know, spend time at this place, the so-called wet house, see what life is like there for the residents, for the staff. Is it a place of death and despair, or is it a place of hope? So that's what we set out to try and find out.
This is where I keep my clothing and stuff.
It looks a lot like a college dormitory.
This is the cafeteria here.
But its residents are not students.
This is a program that's designed for chronic alcoholic men.
This is not your typical halfway house.
The difference is there is alcohol in the mix. And these are all men that have been through treatment, numerous attempts. These are men that have lost their jobs due to alcohol, lost their housing due to alcohol, lost their relationships, lost their family, have really reached their rock bottom.
Program manager Bill Hockenberger refers to it as a harm reduction model, providing a shelter for alcoholics. They don't serve any alcohol, but residents are free to buy their own, then indulge here on the patio.
This is a wet house. This is a place for people to drink. And some of us choose not to drink. And we don't a lot of the time.
Stories of success, of sobering up and making a new life, are the exception rather than the rule. But that's okay with Hockenberger. This place exists to give these men a home, a place to make their own decisions in what, for many of them, will be the last period of their lives.
As sad as it is, I'm grateful to say that they do have the choice to die in a bed instead of on the street.
This is my room, my humble abode.
You keep your room pretty clean.
I'm just grateful to have a room to keep clean, you know.
After vodka ruined his career as a restaurant kitchen manager, Nick Lott found himself sleeping under a bridge. But for the last 5 years, he's found a place to rest his head, on the standard issue twin bed in a modest 12 by 12 concrete room.
It's clean, comfortable, safe. I'd be in a bad position without a place like this.
Well, I know how to say,
I would be running around panhandling and annoying people and maybe even stealing or something.
He doesn't drink every day, but when he does...
If, you have money in the morning, you go, you get drunk, you're drunk by the middle of the day, you come up here, you knock out for a couple hours, and then depending on what's going up when you wake up again, you go out and you drink again. You're almost afraid to quit drinking, because it's like, sometimes it just seems like that's all there is.
In addition to a place to call home, Nick also gets $89 a month from the state.
That's pretty much it.
And the day that money comes, he's up early to use it. A few toiletries, new phone card, his tobacco, and after what seems like an eternity, the clock strikes 9 a.m. The liquor store is open.
Morning.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing? And I know that, that must sound horrible to the taxpayers and all that, but no, it's the way it is.
It may not come as a shock, the place has critics. Bill Hockenberger knows this.
I don't feel this is enabling at all. This is a harm reduction model that, if anything, these guys are cutting back on the amount of alcohol that they're drinking coming in the door. And if we put it out there in a way, let them make the decisions, and then they feel a lot better about themselves.
Nick Lott would love nothing more than to make a decision and sober up once and for all, to see his family again without feeling embarrassed.
You know, there are things that I would like to do, but that's basically out of the question.
Do you feel like it's a possibility that you could just spend the rest of your time here?
Well, that just depends on how much time I have left, if you know what I mean. People die here all the time.
And we have a sad update to Nick Lott's story. He died just a short time after we finished shooting this story. So, you know, at a place like St. Anthony, though, death is certainly not uncommon. But even staff at the residence say, you know, Nick was in fairly good health, relatively speaking. Sanjay.
Yeah, I mean, he alluded to it, almost prophetic. I mean, it does seem like the end of the road for many people. That this place, this wet house. Do you have any idea? It's tough to ask this even. But how much money are we spending on this?
Well, there are, let's see, there's 60 residents in the house, and they cost $50 each to house each night. So you total that all up, it's about $1 million each year. Now, they're quick to point out, you know, if these people are out on the streets, they're going to emergency rooms, they're going to hospitals, they're going to detox. One trip to detox alone costs $200 a night. And in fact, one of the guys I met at the house had been to detox over 400 times. So those costs can add up as well. So you kind of have to look at both sides of that.
Again, we look at addiction, we look at all sorts of different things in the society to which we're addicted, and different solutions. This is one of them, a controversial one for sure, Chris. Again, I know you spent over a month there, so I appreciate your reporting on this. Thank you.
Thanks.
And excessive alcohol can lead to all sorts of things, including increased risk of mouth, throat, and liver cancer. For women specifically, though, the biggest concern is